Hello, and in this video we will talk about different Jira modules which are available in Forge and how you can use them to build your beautiful app. As you may realize that there are dozens of different places in Jira which could be extended with Forge modules, but it's not quite clear why there are so many of them, what's the difference between them and how to use it. I suggest a very high-level classification of all the Forge modules for Jira based from 2 points of views. First of all, business purposes and developers' point of view. We will go in a few of them to check it in details a bit later, but now I would like to share this diagram which I've made to explain the basics of building apps with Forge modules and the basic classification of them. From the business point of view, we can split all the modules to a few categories, like fields extensions, workflow extensions, page options, issue view extensions, and so on. From the developer point of view, we can split all the implementations of the modules into 3 categories. It's a front-end, back-end, and just a declaration. Front-end means that module will be visible to the user, and when you implement it, you need to build a UI with one of 2 available options, with custom UI or UI kit. When you build the front-end part, this visual part, in the most of the cases it will be the iframe where your application will be running and shown to the user. It's normally you can use any React application configuration or just a plain JavaScript plus HTML or some cool, rich and complex configuration of React plus TypeScript, Redux, and many other things. From the front end, you have the ability to communicate with Jira and your own backend functions through the special bridge API. In one of the next video, we will talk about it in details. So front end, it's everything about user available UI. It's about visual component of your application. For the backend part, we need to talk a bit more about Forge function as a service part, because Forge allows you to run functions on the backend side from which you can communicate with your Jira through REST API, do the calls on behalf of current user or on behalf of app, and you can also communicate, for example, with storage, which allows you to store multiple entities, query them, and so on. So backend, it's everything that will be executed on the Forge backend side. And declaration modules, so modules which provide the declaration only, they not have any implementation. They just say to Forge and the host application, hey, we are introducing some permission or entity which later could be used for JQuery search or for permission check from different modules. As you can see here, some of the categories are located both in front-end and back-end categories. Why? For example, fields or custom fields provides 2 types of modules, custom field and custom field type, which give you the possibility to introduce your own custom fields, calculated fields for Jira. Custom field always will create one field only, which you can add to different screens, assigned to different field context, but the field will be only one and it will be already pre-existed. If you will create the custom field type module, it will allow you to create multiple new custom fields of this type. What's interesting about both these modules, it has both front-end part and back-end part. In the back-end part, you have to implement compute function which will calculate the value of your field. And the front-end part, which will explain how to show your value on the issue view screen. Pretty similar to the workflow extensions. They have both back-end part and front-end part. And in front-end part, you will be able to configure your validator, condition, or post function. And in back-end, it will be the function which will be executed before transition, during transition, after transition. Some of the modules, like pages, allows you to extend Jira UI with new pages in various places, like admin section, global page, which means the top menu with name apps. You can create your own page-related pages or page settings pages. They doesn't have any backend part, so it's a pure front-end applications, pure front-end modules, which of course can communicate with Jira through Bridge API, can call backend functions, and so on. But when you implement this module, it doesn't require any backend functions to be implemented. You can create it completely as with a front-end custom UI, for example. Also, all the issue view extensions like actions, activities, context panel, in just the different places on issue view, which you can extend with your app. They also doesn't require backend part. You can implement it, but it's up to you and depends on the implementation. Also, we have a few more categories like background scripts. They're pretty interesting. It's also part of front-end implementation. It creates the hidden iframe, which allows you to execute some background scripts on issue view pages or dashboard view pages. Depends on the needs. You can run some background calculations, some background updates where it's needed without any visual part. Also, you are able to extend dashboard gadgets and create your own custom gadgets. And also, there are a possibility to create a module which will extend UI modifications. That's pretty interesting module which allows you to change the behavior of the user during issue creation and issue view. For example, with this module, you are able to rename fields, make some of them hidden or locked, and many more. If you're talking about pure backend functions, we can find here the Jekyll function, which allows you to define which new Jekyll functions will appear on your instance and how the user could make a search using this function. It will be completely defined in your manifest YAML. And declarations, as I mentioned, is just a way to say the Jira that there are new entities will appear somewhere, like project permissions or global permissions, but you don't need to implement these functions. It's just a declaration of the new entity. Later, you need to implement the check for the configured permissions from the related modules. And also, entity property is the way to say which entity property, like issue entity property, will be indexed and available for Jekyll search. So as you can see, we have categorization by the business needs, like custom fields, workflow extensions, new pages, new issue view extensions, and a few more. And we have categorizations by front-end part, back-end part, and just a declaration part, which means that declaration will be in the manifest, but there are no any function. You don't need to write any function which implemented. Depends on the needs. You can create the app which will have only one module or combination of multiple modules to provide the full experience for the users with multiple, for example, custom fields, workflow extensions, issue view extensions, and so on. That's it for this video. In the next videos, I will explain in details how you can use the most of these modules, what benefits they bring to end users, and how you can achieve the most of it as a developer using TypeScript, using mono repository, project structure, and many more. As always, all the links to documentation and this nice diagram will be in the description to this video. Thank you for your time.